Here's why virtual wholesaling is so much better than traditional wholesaling, why you can do more of them in less time, and why you're much more likely to get these deals sold. What's up guys, Mike Hill, the Wholesaling Titan here, and in today's video, I want to show you how to remotely do deals from the comfort of your home, or anywhere for that matter, so you can flip properties without ever meeting sellers, meeting buyers, or even seeing these houses. Now, I've done deals in Florida while sitting poolside in Las Vegas, literally. I've done deals in Florida sitting in a cabin on a ski slope in Denver, and I've received a $20,000 wire transfer while riding roller coasters with my daughter at Universal Studios. So basically, this idea of being restricted to a cubicle or a 9 to 5 or having to sit in a car all day to earn a living, it can literally be a thing of the past. So check this out. When I first started wholesaling back in 2012, I got a lot of my first deals by using traditional methods like driving for dollars, putting up flyers, sending direct mail, putting out bandit signs, and yes, even door knocking. Now, all these tactics still work, but the problem is they're very tedious, they're very labor intensive, and they're very time consuming. And mom always said, work smarter, not harder. And so back in the day, even though I was doing those deals, I realized, man, I got into the business not just to make money, but also to have more free time. And instead, I just given myself another job. Now, a lot has changed in the last decade, and with more resources and data available online, you can literally do deals from anywhere. Not only is it more convenient and more efficient, but I'm going to explain to you in just a second why you actually do more deals this way. So the first reason why you want to go virtual is because you can operate in markets where deals are more abundant. They're easier to find and there's higher demand. So that means they're easier to sell even at higher prices. Now, I've seen a lot of almost clickbaity videos saying you can flip houses in any market. And theoretically, yeah, that might be true, but if you're living in the middle of, say, Nebraska or a more rural area, sure, theoretically, you might be able to get a deal here and there, but the demand is probably not sufficient to the point where you can do multiple deals every month. And then consider the ROI on your time, your money, your effort. Like, let's say you spend, $5,000 on marketing to get one deal in Nebraska, and then you got a pool of like 6 buyers to sell it to, versus spending that same $5,000 on marketing in Miami, getting 5 deals, and then you have a pool of 5,000 active buyers to sell to. And then remember, with the increased demand in an area like Miami, where buyers are competing against each other for properties, you're gonna have an easier time not only selling the property, but you'll likely be able to sell it at a higher price. And then also, you have to remember certain states, they have additional barriers to entry or even legal barriers that make the business significantly harder. So now let's take a look at the virtual wholesaling process, what it looks like, how you do it, and why these types of deals are easier to get done and have a higher conversion rate. So first, I'm going to start by describing the traditional wholesaling process, where you reach out to potential sellers, confirm that they're interested in selling, and then schedule a time to see the property. Then, get in your car and you drive 30 minutes or an hour to go and see the property, talk to the seller, walk through the property, and then in many cases, you'll find that the price your seller wants is just too high to wholesale, right? Ask me how I know that. In which case, you just wasted your time, and you get to think about that on your drive home. But let's assume, that they are open to selling at a discount in exchange for a fast cash offer. So you pull out your contract and you guys sign a purchase agreement. So now the seller is satisfied and you need to advertise the property to your cash buyers. Now, while some buyers will buy sight unseen, most want to see the property or have someone on their team or have an independent third party see the property, to confirm the numbers. And they won't trust your numbers because you have a vested interest in the deal. So now, when you send buyers to the property, it can come off as a red flag to the seller, right? Imagine from their perspective, they're thinking bro, you already saw the property. You did your inspection. Why is somebody else coming through my house? And now let's say your buyer, they go out there, they do the math, and they find out that perhaps the repairs are more extensive and your price is too high. So now, if you want to sell it, you need to go back and ask for a price reduction. Now, when you go back to the seller and ask for that price reduction, again, alarm bells might go off in the seller's mind. You already saw the property, then you sent some random people here. Now you're asking for a price reduction when you already saw it and we already agreed on the price. Okay? So now let's contrast that with the virtual wholesaling method. You're already in a market with sufficient demand. So you call your seller, you give them your pitch, right? You pay all cash, you buy as is, you can close quickly, etc. And, using my scripts, which you can grab for free right now down in the description below. But if you're using my scripts, they're like heavily rooted in sales and psychology, and you get the seller to name their price first to determine if there's even a deal to be made, so you aren't wasting any time on properties or situations that don't qualify. Now, as a part of your script, you're also going to be asking them to tell you about the house, right? So how's the condition? Does it need repairs? Have you done any updating or any renovations, etc.? Then you're going to ask them to send you pictures of the house. And remember, we're dealing strictly with motivated sellers. So if someone is truly motivated to sell quickly and you're presenting them with that opportunity, they're going to be happy to grab their phone, send you photos, walk around, do a video walkthrough. And then later, you're going to use this material to market the property to your cash buyers. That's why you don't need to see it. Now, keep in mind that sellers will almost always overvalue their property and their expectations and underestimate the repairs. So the next step is you'll say, okay, based on everything that you told me about the property, I'm comfortable of making an offer of, say, $100,000. And, because I haven't seen the property, I'm just going to have someone, and that someone could be your partner, a general contractor, whatever. I'm going to have someone come through and just do a quick walkthrough, just to confirm everything that you're saying is correct. And you want to say this in a very nonchalant manner, like it's no big deal. And it's highly unlikely that the seller is going to object because it would imply that what they said to you wasn't accurate. And it's more than reasonable to have someone walk the property because you're signing a contract sight unseen, right? Add some validity. But more importantly, you've also set the expectation that someone is going to come and walk the property. Also, on a side note, this method helps you overcome a very common objection where a seller or even an agent will say, well, I want you to see the property before I sign a contract. Well, when you're virtual wholesaling, you can easily justify this in a few different ways, right? So one example would be saying something like, well, yeah, I understand you want me to come and see it, but I actually won't be the one coming to see the property. Instead, I'm going to send my general contractor to come, and he's going to come and see it. But, cost of the inspection is $400, and we don't take on that expense unless we know that we can actually buy the property, right? And that's pretty reasonable, right? Like imagine you paid $400 to get a property inspected, and then the seller gives it away. Like you'd want to make sure that you have the rights to purchase first. And as you're explaining, you make it clear that this is one of your default practices, one of your SOPs or standard operating procedures. Now, if you have a standard way of doing things, it sub-communicates to your seller that you're experienced, that you know what you're doing, you've done this before, without you having to say it overtly. So next, you're going to take the photos and the videos from your seller and use it as marketing materials to send to your cash buyers. You're going to qualify your cash buyer and then set up the showing. Now, when you arrange the showing and when the buyer arrives, the seller is already expecting them and they have a rational reason why. So there are no red flags going off in their mind. And then if your buyer comes back to you and they say, hey, the price is too high, you want to ask them, well, why is that? One, why is that? And two, what would you pay? Right? Maybe they'll say something like, oh, the roof is going to need to be replaced. The kitchen needs X, like whatever it is. So now you go back to your seller once you know what price your buyer needs and you regurgitate that feedback from your cash buyer. You say like, I know we originally said 100K, but as you know, Joe came and did the walkthrough and it actually needs XYZ. You can go ahead and itemize those things. So we still want to do the deal. We can get you out of this property, get your problem solved in the next week, but we need a price reduction of X amount. And that narrative makes a lot of sense because you've guided the seller and managed those expectations throughout the process. And having the commitment to sell beforehand makes the seller more likely to work with you and to renegotiate on price. It kind of makes sense to them because you hadn't seen it before, and per your purchase agreement, the price was essentially conditional based on your inspection findings. And when you guys signed the contract, you both mutually agreed to that. So you can see that this method not only works better for your seller, making for a smoother transaction, but it's far more efficient. Like traditionally, man, you are wasting time and gas money driving to appointments that might not even be deals. Like break it down, right? An hour spent driving there, hour spent talking to the seller, hour driving home. Bro, in 3 hours, you can make 50 to 100 offers from the comfort of your home. Now, this is a basic summary of the virtual wholesaling process, but there are some more specific details and nuances to the process, as well as how to overcome some of the obstacles that commonly pop up using this method. So if you'd like to see a full step-by-step breakdown, there's a link in the description where I teach you this exact process step by step, along with multiple case studies, including how I recently used this strategy to find and sell a wholesale deal to a cash buyer in just 1 week with no money. I mean, not even a deposit required. I have one where I show you how one of my students did his first 2 deals ever in the same day with no money for a total of $40,000 in profits while living in New York, while the properties being wholesaled were here in Florida, meaning that he never met the sellers, never met the buyers, never even saw the houses. I'll also show you how to do this with absolutely no money. All you need is an internet connection. And if you can spend even a little bit of money, I'll show you how you can use AI-based automation to automate your offers and automate your follow-up, which is super important when you consider that about 80% of your deals come by way of follow-up. And in contrast, the average, newer wholesaler never follows up even once. Also in that training, I'll show you how to put these systems together, and I also reveal some of my, better kept secrets, like what I'm using right now, my absolute #1 best list for finding motivated sellers and discounted properties. So click that link in the description for that training. Remember to leave your questions and comments here. Guys, I love interacting with you guys. I love getting new ideas for new videos. As always, please take a moment. Do like, comment, share, subscribe. Again, I just love making these videos. I could talk about wholesaling literally forever. And the engagement just really helps the channel out, and I really do appreciate it so much. So I want to thank you all again for watching. Enjoy that training, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. All right? Peace.